Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 1 of my TEW 2020 Rates AEW. Now, it's going to be the newest series here on the channel, and it's going to be a real-world sort of mod that we use. Usually I kind of stick to the C-verse, which is, if you didn't know, the sort of default game info or database that you play, or you are available to play once you purchase TEW. Now, if you want to buy a TEW for yourself, there will be a link for that down in the description down below. Use the link, it does support the channel, so I do appreciate that. But without that, or with all that being said, let's get into the gist of this series. Now, it's going to be, like it says, we're going to go through, run exactly the same show each week for AEW Dynamite. And of course, we'll do the pay-per-views there as well. The premise behind it is I want to see, in a bit of an experimental sort of type series, what the game actually rates the sort of in real life booking of Dynamite. I think it's going to be very interesting to sort of see the angles or matches that do really well, and obviously the perception of those matches and angles by people in real life. It's going to be interesting either way, and I'm really looking forward to it. As you can see, I have essentially booked the Winter is Coming full TV show here. Obviously, match times and match angle lengths and stuff like that are a little bit... I've tried to get them as close as possible, as well as there is another thing we have to talk about. A few people aren't actually in the database. One of them was Layla Hirsch, so instead of her versus Britt, I've gone for Layla Bates. Essentially, same sort of deal. They're both relatively low, but I do think they are trying to give Layla Hirsch a bit more TV time. So Layla is going to come in for there. And then in the Battle Royale, we've also actually changed out a few people in that. Basically, I think Matt Hardy has an injury on this database at the start here, because it was actually, I think, an October database as well. So he won't be in the match, but obviously his new gimmick, he played a pretty important role. So we've just thrown in 2 other people. I think we threw in someone from the Dark Order, and yeah, I think that's it. Actually, I think Lee Johnson was in the match as well, and I don't think he is on the roster either. So I think we might have put 2 people in there. I think it might have been QT Marshall I just chucked in there to make up numbers, because it was a 20-man battle royale. But everything else is pretty good. I added, obviously, Don Callis to the company. And then, of course, we got the big debut in there as well, which I also added him in under an exclusive written contract. So yeah, let's start the show. And let's see what we get. So we start off with a 64 rated match here, where we have it's the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royale. It's a very interesting match because obviously there wasn't exactly a winner. There was kind of 2 winners, or a final 2, if you will. So that was hard to book into the game. As you can see, I decided to give MJF the victory, but obviously it finished with Orange Cassidy and, of course, MJF being the last 2. Of course, the other members, well, we had Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, and, well, there was a final 5, really. And then we also had Wardlow in there as well. But a 64 is actually pretty good, considering that this match also has a fair amount of sort of undercard workers as well. Guys like Janela, Private Party. I mean, obviously, Reynolds and Silver are very, very popular these days, but they're also probably considered undercard, along with Luther, Serpentico, those types of guys. But then again, I guess you also have some more, main event level talent like Paige, Miro, who else? Obviously MJF, and I guess it looks like they're trying to push Jungle Boy as well, because he was, along with Sammy Guevara, in that final 5. Anyway, as you can see, Silva was really off his game, probably thinking about food or something like that, and Luther was really off his game, but that's probably a pretty common occurrence. Anyway, like I said, 64 is very good for a Battle Royale. And, the popularity on this database, I would say it's fairly accurate without going too bad for some people. Like, some of these undercard workers would only have maybe 25 popularity or something like that. So it's not too bad. Also, Miro getting the most eliminations over the course of the match. There was sort of a period in the match when he just started to absolutely dominate everybody and did pick himself up a few eliminations there as well. Alrighty, we then go into the following angle. We get a 51, and it's Kip and Miro attack Orange Cassidy post-match. And then, of course, we had Best Friends running in to once again make the save. And, yeah, the referees all came out to hold back Kip and Miro. Well, primarily just Miro. Apparently, Trent was terrible with no script because we kind of I decided to go entertainment because there wasn't something that really fit apart from overness. I don't really like using the overness sort of attribute in angles. I feel like it's more... I feel like the overness is more for, like, spectacular entrances, or, which we'll probably see a little bit later. I did actually use it on the show for our, special debut. But, yeah, I just don't like using it. And I feel like entertainment in these sort of scenarios, I could have just gone fighting again. But I feel like it kind of, the entertainment aspect would be them running out, attempting to make a save. So yeah, 51's actually not too bad, but I'm assuming Miro probably has pretty good popularity, maybe along with Orange Cassidy as well. So they would probably be holding their own with Miro fighting, and I think I had Cassidy on selling. All right, we then go into I think I put this as a Steal the Show match, and we get a 71 rating for this one as well. I would say that's probably pretty accurate. It was a decent match between two veteran workers. We did indeed have Chris Jericho defeating Frankie Kazarian in 11:34 by pinfall with a Lion Salt. Obviously, he finished it with the Judas effect, but let's pretend that says Judas effect. During the match, we also saw Jake Hager run in and attack Kazarian, and also Ortiz attack Kazarian during the match as well. Pretty good in-ring performance there from Jericho, picking himself up an 80. Very impressive. I think he has about 65 popularity across America. I think maybe 70 across Canada. So, yeah, interesting. I think Kazarian's only about 40, maybe 45, somewhere around there. All right, we then go into the following angle. Of course, during the match, we had MJF run out with a towel that he looked like he was going to throw in. And that led to Sammy coming out, and following the match, we had a big brawl. This angle getting us a 62 there. And, yeah. Jericho basically says that, got to save. I did write some text here. But basically it was Jericho issuing an ultimatum to the Inner Circle. Either they get along or they disband, and the ultimatum will occur next week. Now, Jericho was the only one rated on entertainment in this angle, but I think everybody else... Actually, I don't know about everybody else. I think they're all rated on fighting, actually. So that's pretty good that we got a 62 out of this angle, considering, everybody was fighting apart from Jericho, who does have very good entertainment skills. All right, we then go backstage to a 49 rated interview where the Young Bucks are being interviewed backstage by Alex Marvez before TH2 ambush them from behind, leaving them laid out. Now, I could have added in Kazarian and Daniels in this angle, but basically, didn't really seem like they did anything. I mean, they didn't really make the save. They kind of just chased off TH2, who were already sort of leaving at the time. So I kind of just wanted to keep it, between these two tag teams, and obviously Marvez out there, just being the interviewer. But yeah, Jackson was a real star. Nick came out of it looking good. And Matt Jackson was superb, working without a script. Only a 49 though. A little bit on the low side, I think. But maybe that might be Marvez. Or potentially TH2. Alright, so moving on to the Britt Baker match, getting a 39. Let's pretend that Britt Baker defeated Layla Hirsch in 7:41 by submission with her sort of mandible claw. What is it called? I can't even remember what her finish is called at the moment. But it looks like she's pulling teeth. And it's kind of like I honestly can't remember what it's called, but either way, getting a victory there. Obviously not Leva Bates, but Layla Hirsch. I'll try and get her into the database here, as well as Lee Johnson and maybe whoever else. But we move on to another 39 rated angle this time, where we have Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker fighting each other after her match finishes. This one was, just Thunder Rosa, getting in the ring, attacking Britt post-match. And then, of course, we had referees and road agents coming to the aid or to try and split them both up. I think we also had Reba, or Rebel, whatever her name is, run in and attack Thunder Rosa as well. But I decided not to put her in the angle because she's not very good. And it wouldn't really, I don't know, it just wouldn't add to the actual angle itself. It would probably just drag it down a little bit lower. All right, we then go into the next match, getting a 66 rating from this one. So pretty good, but not as good as the Jericho match. But we have Darby Allin and Cody defeating Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs in 11:41. And Darby pinned Ricky with a coffin drop. Good to see the actual finish there coming into fruition from the game. And yeah, I mean, Darby and Cody have excellent chemistry teaming together, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, Cody's performance standing out with a 71 in-ring. And yeah, Cody was essentially head and shoulders above everybody else in the match. I suppose, Darby, Ricky, and Will Hobbs, they're all relatively young, even though some of them have, quite a bit of experience. Obviously, Cody's experience does sort of outweigh them. All right, we go into the next angle following the match, getting a 49 rating. We have a post-match attack and save before the lights go out. So obviously, Ricky and Hobbs, under the behest of Taz, attack both Darby Allin and Cody, he was supposed to be in the angle. I don't know what, I think Arn was supposed to be Cody in this angle. Anyway, doesn't matter too much because obviously Arn, I think, was at ringside anyway. But Cody was the one that they were about to hit with the title belt. And if Cody was in this angle, he might have actually boosted it up a little bit. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. It would have just been Cody on selling as well. And then we go into a 66 rated angle here. And Sting debuts, clears the ring before he goes around the ring, staring down Arn Anderson, following by Dustin Rhodes, then Cody Rhodes, and finally, and probably for the longest amount of time, he goes over to Darby Allin, looks at both sides of his face, and kind of is, I don't know if he's impressed or if he's looking maybe at what Darby could be in the future. It was a very interesting angle and obviously a very hyped up angle. A lot of people would have been marking out. I personally really enjoyed it. Just seeing Sting in a ring where he's probably going to be, taken care of and, also given the platform to do something pretty special if he so desires to, I think it was reported that he was on a 2-year contract or something like that. I don't know if I just made that up in my head, but I kind of remember someone stating that it was a 2-year contract. Anyway, as you can see, performance of Cody was fantastic. Dustin and Brandy have good chemistry. Arn was superb working without a script, so was Cody. Darby struggled a little bit off script, but overall, we had Sting on overness, because he does have about 80 popularity. And a 66, I think, is a relatively good angle for all of these guys being involved. There we go. All right, we then go backstage once again for another interview. This one getting a 42 rating. And we have Alex Marvez interviewing Hikaru Shida backstage. However, Shida hears a noise, and she does indeed seem a little bit scared of Abaddon, who is potentially going to be her future number one contender or a future opponent for the women's world title. As I think the week previously, she licked the title belt with blood. So, yeah, interesting stuff there. Good improvisation from both Marvez and Sheeta. But yet, still a pretty low angle. I'm assuming it might be Marvez, because I am using him on his microphone ability instead of going entertainment with him. I think with announcers, it just seems a little bit better to use their microphone ability. But I'm assuming he has low popularity as well. Alrighty, we then go to the Jon Moxley promo just before the main event, pre-main event. We give him a little bit of time, and of course he is, I think, second most over in the company, just behind Sting, which is obviously a new signing to the company as well. But we get an 84, which is very high. That's definitely on the high side. And Moxley doing some good work with his promo time, improvising well throughout the segment as well. So yeah, all round, really, this angle is probably going to lift the rating of the show quite a bit. And the main event, also a really good match, to be fair. We get an 81 rating there. We have Kenny Omega defeating Jon Moxley in 30 minutes, 27 seconds by pinfall while illegally using the ropes for leverage. Let's ignore that. Obviously, the finish of the match was Omega cracking Jon Moxley across the head, or into the head, really, with the microphone provided from Don Callis. Hence the distraction here. During the match, we also had Don Callis distract Jon Moxley. And yeah, Kenny hitting the one-winged angel and getting the 1-2-3. And as you can see, Kenny Omega wins the AEW World Championship. Great match. And Jon Moxley with an 80 in ring. We had Kenny Omega with a 74. We had the debut of Don Callis as well. Nothing to really be seen there, but an 81 is very solid for this main event, for Winter is Coming. And the final angle, we get a 76 to end the show. I think that's our best angle, apart from Moxley's. But this actually has Don Callis in it, and Don is nowhere near as over as Kenny is. But yeah, Kenny Omega wins the AEW World title, and Don Callis grabs him and runs him out of the arena. And of course, just before they get into the car, Callis is asked, sort of what's happening. And Callis says that he'll explain it all. Him and Kenny will explain everything on Tuesday night. And yeah, Marvez says, but Dynamite isn't on. It isn't on Tuesdays. It's on Wednesdays. And Don Callis then proceeds to say, yeah, we'll be on Impact Wrestling on Access TV. And that is essentially how the show ends. Obviously, that's not how the show ends, but it should have been how the show ended, with them speeding off in the car. The fact that they went back to the ring and, yeah, I don't know. The whole Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston thing right at the end there. I don't know if they were trying to hype it up for next week, but it would have been perfect had they just left it with these two leaving, speeding away in that black SUV. Because it actually looked really cool, the way they sped off. Never really seen anyone or any wrestling angle like that with such sort of acceleration and, just they really wanted to get away. Anyway, we'll finish the show here. We get a 75 overall show rating, so that's actually a pretty good show in sort of TEW standards. From a medium-sized company like AEW is, that's not a bad show. A 71 rated match, an 81 rated main event. Obviously, some important mid-card, upper mid-card work from guys like Darby, Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs. Obviously, the women's division leaves a lot to be desired, I guess is the best way of putting it. And then the Battle Royale was pretty good to open the show as well. And I suppose the Sting debut. The Sting debut could have actually been a little bit better. Hence, the overness. Maybe I should have gone entertainment for Sting potentially, and it might have rated a little bit higher. And then I also could have essentially put everybody else not to be rated in the angle, because they didn't actually say or do anything, really. They just kind of stood there. So maybe I might have messed a few things up there. Not exactly messed them up, but there would have potentially been different options. Anyway, we'll finish the show here, and I'll very quickly show you the injury to Matt Hardy. Luckily, Lance Archer was also out, so luckily he didn't actually appear on this show, because I think he is actually appearing next week in a 6-man tag match with the Lucha Brothers, and they're going to be taking on... Yeah, they're going to be taking on, I think, Eddie Kingston and obviously the Butcher of the Blade. But as you can see, the TV rating, a 1.44, just over, well, nearly at 1.1 million viewers. Who knows how it's actually going to do in real life? Hopefully it will be closer to that 1 million viewer mark because it was such a big show. Anyway, that is essentially going to be it for the episode, guys. As you can see, Hardy still out for 11 days. So hopefully, well, I'm assuming I can just go into the editor and actually change that. But apart from that, make sure you drop a like on the video if you want to see more, guys. It really would mean a lot to me. And it will, of course, help the video find more people. And yeah, leave a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want to see more. Let me know if you want to see potentially Dark as well. I'm kind of against doing Dark because it's kind of just the sort of, you know, lower mid-card workers, essentially just losing every match to sort of the higher mid-card workers. And it just seems a bit pointless, whereas AEW Dynamite has a lot more sort of storytelling and angle work about it as well. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, take it easy, and goodbye.